Hello, everybody, and welcome to this MBL webinar session on investment funds and understanding the AIFMD marketing rules. My name is Zach Malloy. I'm a partner at Paul Hastings, and my specialism is really around regulatory matters around private funds. So the AIFMD is, of course, a large part of that for private fund sponsors. In today's webinar, we're going to cover quite a few things related to the AIFMD and how a sponsor will go about bringing a fund to market. So a rough overview of our agenda is as follows. We'll give a brief overview of the AIFMD, why that framework is important to private fund sponsors, as well as a bit of the evolution of the directive over the course of the last 10 years. We'll then look at the routes to market under the AIFMD. Of course, then we'll move to discussing marketing itself. Investor qualification, some implications around Brexit for UK-based sponsors, and then we'll look at some of the ongoing compliance requirements which follow a marketing registration or marketing of a fund into Europe, as well as discussing the portfolio company rules. And we'll end by taking a look at AIFMD 2, which is set to come into force in April of 2026. So that will have some changes for private fund sponsors subject to the directive. Kicking off then with an overview of the AIFMD. So the Alternative Investment Fund Managers Directive introduced a pan-European regulatory framework applicable to the management and the marketing of EU funds managed by EU managers. And that directive has been in place for about a decade now. And the European Commission regards the AIFMD as mostly effective in terms of investor protections and recognized that it's helped integrate the European market for investment funds. Now, in August of 2021, the European Union introduced the Cross-Border Distribution of Funds Directive, which amends the AIFMD, and it's particularly related to marketing issues and marketing rules. And so it introduced some new rules related to pre-marketing and reverse solicitation. So we'll touch on a couple of those requirements in the context of marketing under the AIFMD as well. The AIFMD 2, which is, as I mentioned, coming online in April of 2026. Now, the final text of the AIFMD 2 directive was published in March of last year, 2024. And so there's some rules relating to marketing, which we'll touch on because, again, quite relevant for private fund sponsors. There are, of course, some ancillary EU regulations which also touch on marketing in the context of the AIFMD. Requirements under the SFDR, the PRIPS regulation, MiFID as well. So we'll talk about how they integrate into marketing a private fund in the European Union. And then, of course, we'll talk about Brexit, albeit briefly. It's quite a while ago now, but there are still some focus requirements for UK sponsors to consider.